Hello and welcome to today's video session. We are studying class 10 science, in that chapter 11 physics. The chapter title is Human Eye and Colorful World. So in this chapter, topics to be covered are the human eye. As you see, we have this topic as the chapter's name, so this topic is very important. Then power of accommodation. Then we'll move on to another most IMP question from this chapter, that is defects of vision and their correction. Then refraction through glass prism, atmospheric refraction and scattering of light. So these 6 topics are these topics to be covered in this chapter, out of which I told human eye and defects of vision and their correction is most IMP. Now before we actually start the chapter, let me tell you with the board paper style or paper pattern from this chapter. So we have one objective question of 1 mark and one long question that is of 4 marks total from this chapter. So only 2 questions, 1 objective and 1 long. So total marks is 5. This year in March 2020 we had 2 questions, one in section A and another in section D. Right? So even though we haven't started the chapter, but you see which were those questions. The first one was the least distance of distant vision for a young adult with normal vision is, answer I have also written, 25 centimeter. When we will study power of accommodation, this topic will be there. Another 4 mark question was related to defects. Shyam, a student, has difficulty reading the blackboard while sitting in the last row. What could be the defect the child is suffering from? Probably we may also, some students also can face the same problem. So if in real life you are suffering from this, it can also be corrected. So how can it be corrected was the question, and explain the correction and problem with the help of appropriate diagram. Right? So this was of 4 marks. So this is a very important information regarding this chapter. Moving on, the human eye, the chapter's title. Right? Now the human eye uses light and it enables us to see objects around us. Now we might know that it has a lens in its structure. So what is the function of the lens in the human eye? How do the lenses used in spectacles they correct the defect of vision? Right? So we will get these answers from this chapter. Now we have learned in previous chapter about light and its properties as well. So we will use those ideas to study some optical phenomena in nature. We shall also discuss about rainbow formation, splitting of white light and blue color of the sky. We will also see why danger signals are in red color. We will also see that how from space the sky appears dark. Clear? So basic optical phenomena also we are going to study. Now starting from the human eye, you see I have put a picture in which half human eye you can see and half camera you can see. Right? And in the main diagram, in front camera is there and in front human eye diagram like a camera. So few basic terms which are related to camera: film, diaphragm, aperture, lens and the black paint. Okay. Now these terms are, though they are related to camera, but similar terms like this is also inside our human eye. Film can be compared as retina, diaphragm can be compared as iris, aperture can be compared as pupil, lens can be compared as eye lens, and the black paint, the choroid part, can act as black paint. So camera working is similar to human eye. Okay. So in comment section you might write that how human eye and camera is different. Okay. So mention that in my comment section. So you are free if you get the answer. Okay. So let us start the chapter in very detail. So here I have on the screen labeled diagram of human eye. Now you have been studying human eye structure since lower standards, right? So probably in some standard very detailed figure is there, like if you see standard 8 textbook, you will have a very detailed figure, and if you see our textbook, you will find less names. Okay, so in this figure, whatever parts were important, they are shown, they are labeled: crystalline lens, aqueous humor, pupil, iris or iris, whatever you say, cornea, vitreous humor, optic nerves, retina and ciliary muscles. You must learn all these names. Okay, because if any question can be asked, mention any 6 names of the parts of human eye and give their functions. Okay, most IMP question. Even in terminal exam or in annual exam, I may ask this question in 4 marks, right? So if you are familiar with this figure, let us study the functions of various parts one by one, not in much detail, but we will discuss about all the parts of the human eye. So moving on to the next. So from cornea we will go for optic nerves. Clear? One by one. So what is cornea? Cornea is a transparent membrane from where the light rays enters. Okay, cornea is the transparent membrane. Remember, the white part of our human eye is sclera. Okay, so white part is sclera, but again on that we have a transparent membrane. Okay, now as it is transparent membrane, the light ray will first interact with cornea only, and then it will get refracted, right? I hope you all know about refraction. So whenever you see anything, that means the light rays are coming inside your eyes. So first they interact with cornea. Interact means they enter through cornea. So most of the refraction occurs while the light is going inside our human eye by cornea. Clear? Moving on to the next, that is iris. Okay, now iris is a dark muscular diaphragm between cornea and eye lens. You can see in the figure that it is in between cornea and the eye lens. Clear? Now it controls the size of pupil. Central hole is there, an empty part is there, an empty space is there. In everyone's eye we can see that exactly in the center it is black. Why it is black? Because it is totally empty. That empty part is called pupil. So iris or iris, it controls the size of pupil. Now how it controls? It contracts and expands. Clear? So it is also the coloring part of the eye, because you can see human eye of different people are of different color. It might be gray, it might be hazel, it might be green, it might be blue, right? So the coloring part is called iris or iris. Clear? So it is a dark muscular diaphragm. It is present between cornea and eye lens. It is the coloring part, and it controls the size of central aperture, central space. You see, this is a figure of human eye. You can see the coloring portion, right? It is blue. So this portion is iris, but at the center you see it is dark, right? Why it is dark? A circular portion, because it is empty, no light comes out, so that is why it is dark. Now this coloring portion is called iris, and this dark portion is called pupil. So if we have cleared with iris, let us go for the next, that is pupil, right? You can see again the dark portion, center portion is called pupil. Now pupil is the place from where the light rays will enter inside the human eye. Okay, now why it is called aperture? Because aperture is a small hole or blank space, right? It is at the center of iris in dim light, where the light is very less. So if we want to see any object clearly in less light, we want all of the light to come inside our eye so that we can see carefully. So in that case the pupil will expand so that all light comes inside. Now when in bright light, it will contract, the size will reduce, so that a controlled amount of light goes inside the human eye. So it expand and contract according to the requirement. Okay, So we can say that it regulates and controls the amount of light which enters the human eye. Clear? So light first goes in cornea, gets refracted, then it goes to this aperture which is called pupil, and who controls this pupil? That is iris, that is coloring portion. Clear? How it is controlled? It expand and contract according to the requirement. Clear? Moving on to the next, that is ciliary muscles. Now what does ciliary muscles do? Ciliary muscles will hold the crystalline lens. Now what is eye lens? It is a crystalline structure, the center part of the eye, that helps into image formation. If you want to write anything about eye lens, what you will write? It is a transparent structure that helps to form the image. Most of the refraction is done by cornea. Now whatever minute refraction is needed to form a clear image, that will be done by crystalline lens. Okay. So again, if you are writing anything after, if you want to write about crystalline lens, you must consider that as a part of your homework. Clear? So after you write about crystalline lens, you will have to write about those muscles who holds the eye lens in the position. You can see at the top also, you can see at the bottom also. Clear? So those red portion are nothing but ciliary muscles. They hold the eye lens in exact position. Again, now this is very important. Eye lens can also contract and expand. Eye lens can also change the shape. It can become thick and it can become thin. If in case you are seeing any distant object very far, so your eye lens will become very thin. Okay, to proper adjustment for clear image, the eye lens for a far object will become thin. And if you are watching anything, seeing anything very close to you, then your eye lens become thick. Okay. So for near, eye lens is thick, and for far, eye lens become thin. Now what makes this eye lens thick or thin is the ciliary muscles. So apart from holding the eye lens in position, they contract or expand to change the shape of eye lens. Okay. So with the help of ciliary muscle, eye lens can become thick and thin. Clear? Moving on to the next, that is retina. Extremely light sensitive surface of eye. Okay. Why extremely light sensitive? Because after refraction and after every process, after going through each part, the light rays, they fall on the retina. Right? Now why it is called sensitive? Because it contains two special type of cells. These light sensitive cells are called rods and cones. Okay. The rods respond to the intensity of light. Okay. And the cones, they generate signals or they identify colors. Okay. So both of them combine to see the objects very carefully. Now very important that when light rays fall on retina, they generate electric signals. Okay. These electric signals, they go to the brain because that needs to be processed. We must understand what we are seeing. Suppose if you are seeing a water bottle, that means the light rays coming from water bottle enters into the cornea, goes into the pupil, then goes into eye lens, refraction, then falls on retina. Light sensitive cells will gain all the information. That information will convert into electric signal, and that needs to reach to the brain. And who will facilitate this? That will be optic nerve. So their work is to transmit the information, the signals from retina to brain. Okay. Now what will brain do? Brain will process everything, and that will make you understand that whatever you are seeing is that specific object. Clear? Right now if you are seeing my video, that means your brain is continuously processing whatever you are reading or whatever you are seeing. Clear? Now two important things that are in the figure but we have not discussed is aqueous humor and vitreous humor. Now again, aqueous is related to water, right? So aqueous humor and vitreous humor, they are nothing but liquid. Below I have written that our eyeballs are having diameter 2.3 centimeter. As you can see, they are almost spherical in shape. So don't consider that eye lens is totally empty. Okay, we have these two liquids filled inside the human eye so that it becomes spherical in shape. Clear? These two liquids, they are filled inside the parts of human eye, and that is how it is, the human eye or eyeball is spherical. Clear? So they are very important to keep the shape of the human eye. Aqueous humor, it is present in the space behind the cornea, right? So you can see in the figure as well, bluish kind of shading is there, that means the liquid is filled. Vitreous humor, it is in the space between the eye lens and retina, right? Again, it is a transparent liquid and this is called vitreous humor. So both are the liquids. Clear? Now I hope we are clear with all the parts, important part of the human eye. One part knowingly I haven't written, that is eye lens. So you have to write about eye lens. Now few important instructions that I want to give you, that till now we have finished chapter 10, light, reflection and diffraction. In total we had 3 videos, one of reflection, one of refraction and one of exercise numerical. Now more numericals are there but I haven't given because I thought we will practice that in the class. Okay. Now very important, written work must be over in your regular physics notebook. Those students who are still in the vacation mood, please wake up. Writing work must be over whenever you are seeing the video, during the video or after online session, right? You have full day for doing the writing work. Please complete it on that day itself. Don't forward me the images or PDF homework on WhatsApp, because for 10th standard we are using Google Class. As this corona break has given us a very nice opportunity to learn new things, so we are using Google Class. The science class code is CLOU2LN, right? Now many of you will be confused whether it is L or I. That is why I have written C for cat, L for lion, O for ox, U for Uno, 2, L for lion and N for nest. Clear? Now after every video session, very important, after every video session, in the description box I'll be putting a Google form. Google form will contain few questions which are related to this video only. So that might be a general question, that might be a tricky question, that might be a common sense based question also. From these questions I will come to know that whether you are watching the videos carefully or not. So my questions will be based on some of the topics for everyday's session, right? Every day we will every week we will have a physics session, and then you will have to fill up the form as a review or feedback, right? So I hope that's all for today's session. You are working well in every subject, same as you work hard in physics. Keep on revising, keep on visiting the channel and viewing the video, right? If you have any query, you can mention that in comments. But try to use Google Class as much as possible. So that's all for today. Thank you.